Sirs, I am a friend of all the world. There do exist, here and there, governments as liberal as human weakness actually permits, and yet everything is far from well in the best of all possible republics. Some say, this is precisely because there is too much freedom. The others, this is because there is still not enough freedom. The truth is that there is not the right kind of freedom, the fundamental freedom to choose to be free or not to be free, according to one's preference. Every human being becomes a self-appointed judge, and settles this question according to his particular tastes or needs. Since there abound as many opinions as individuals, tot homines, tot census, one can see what confusion is graced by the fine name of politics. The freedom of some denies the rights of others, and vice versa. Even the wisest and best of governments never functions with the full and free consent of all its subjects. There are parties, either victorious or defeated. There are majorities and minorities in perpetual struggle, and the more confused their notions are, the more passionately they hold to their ideals. Some oppress in the name of right, the others revolt in the name of liberty, to become oppressors themselves, if their turn should come.
I see.
The reader might say,
you are one of those utopians who would construct out of many pieces a system wherein society would be enclosed, by force or consent. Nothing will do the way it is, and your panacea alone will save mankind. Your magic solution.
You are wrong. I have no magic solution other than everybody's solutions. I do not differ from all the others except on one point, namely, that I am open to any persuasion whatsoever. In other words, I allow any of the forms of government, at least all those that have some adherents.
I do not follow you at all.
Then, allow me to go on. There is a general tendency to push theories too far, but does it follow that all the elements of such a theory must be wrong? It has been said that there is perversity or foolishness in the exercise of human intelligence, but to declare one does not like speculative ideas and detests theories, would that not mean a renunciation of our reasoning powers? Each generation is like a new tenant who, before moving in, changes things around, cleans up the facade, and adds or pulls down an annex, according to his own needs. From time to time some generation, more vigorous or short-sighted than its predecessors, pulls down the whole building, sleeping out in the open until it is rebuilt. When, after 1,000 privations and with enormous efforts, they have managed to rebuild it to a new plan, they are crestfallen to find it is not much more comfortable than the old one. It is true that those who drew up the plans are set up in good apartments, well situated, warm in winter and cool in summer, but the others, who had no choice, are relegated to the garrets, the basements or the lofts. So there are always enough dissenters and troublemakers, of whom some miss the old building, whilst some of the more enterprising already dream of another demolition. For the few who are satisfied there is an innumerable mass of disgruntled ones. We must remember however that some are satisfied. The new edifice is indeed not faultless, but it has advantages. Why pull it down tomorrow, later, indeed ever, as long as it shelters enough tenants to keep it going? I myself detest the wreckers as much as the tyrants. If you feel your apartment is inadequate or too small or unhealthy, then change it. That is all I ask. Choose another place. Move out quietly, but for heaven's sake don't blow up the whole house as you go. What you found unsuitable might delight your neighbor. Do you understand my metaphor?
Almost, but what are you aiming for? No more revolutions. That would be fine. I feel that 9 times out of 10 their costs outweigh their achievements. We then keep the old building, but where do you accommodate those who move out?
Wherever they like. This is none of my business. I believe that in this respect everyone will be totally free to take his decisions. This is the basis of my system. Laissez-faire, laissez-passer.
I think I understand. Those who are not content with their government must look elsewhere for another. Actually, there has been a choice, starting from the Moroccan Empire, without mentioning all the other empires, right up to the Republic of San Marino, from the city of London to the American Pampas. Is that all your theory amounts to? It is nothing new, I must tell you.
It is not a matter of emigration. A man does not carry his native land on the soles of his shoes. Moreover, such colossal expatriation is and always will be impracticable. The expense involved could not be met by all the wealth in the world. I have no intention of resettling the population according to its convictions, relegating Catholics to the Flemish provinces, for example, or marking the liberalist frontier from Mons to Liège. I hope we can all go on living together wherever we are, or elsewhere, if one likes, but without discord, like brothers, each freely holding his opinions and submitting only to a power personally chosen and accepted.
I am now totally lost.
I am not at all surprised. My plan, my utopia, is apparently not the old story you first thought it to be, yet nothing in the world could be simpler or more natural. However, it is common knowledge that in government, as in mechanics, the simplest ideas always come last. We are coming to the point. Nothing lasts if it is not based on liberty. Nothing that already exists can maintain itself or operate with full efficiency without the free interplay of all its active parts. Otherwise energy is wasted, parts wear out rapidly, and there are, in fact, breakdowns and serious accidents. Thus I demand, for each and every member of human society, freedom of association according to inclination and of activity according to aptitude. In other words, the absolute right to choose the political surroundings in which to live, and to ask for nothing else. For instance, you are a Republican.
Me? May heaven help me.
Just suppose you were. Monarchy does not suit you. The air is too stifling for your lungs and your body does not have the free play and action your constitution demands. According to your present frame of mind, you are inclined to tear down this edifice, you and your friends, and to build your own in its place. But to do that you would come up against all the monarchists who cling to their beliefs, and in general all those who do not share your convictions. Do better. Assemble. Declare your program. Draw up your budget. Open membership lists. Take stock of yourself, and if numerous enough to bear the costs, establish your republic.
Whereabouts? In the Pampas?
No, certainly not. Here, where you are, without moving. I agree that it is necessary, up to the present, to have the monarchists' consent. For the sake of my argument, I suppose this matter of principle to be settled. Otherwise I am well aware of the difficulty of changing the state of affairs to the way it should be and must become. I simply express my idea, not wishing to impose it on anyone, but I see nothing which might stop it but the routine. Don't we know how bad a household governments and governed make together? Everywhere, on the civil level we provide against unworkable households by legal separation or divorce. I suggest an analogous solution for politics, without having to circumscribe it with formalities and protective restrictions. For in politics a first marriage leaves no children or physical marks. My method differs from unjust and tyrannical procedures followed in the past in that I have no intention to do anyone violence. Does anybody want to carry out a political schism? He should be able to do so but on one condition, namely, that he will do it within his own group, affecting neither the rights nor the creed of others. To achieve this, it is absolutely not necessary to subdivide the territory of the state into so many parts as there are known and approved forms of government. As before, I leave everyone and everything in its place. I only demand that people make room for the dissenters so that they may build their churches and serve the almighty power in their own fashion.
And how are you going to put this into practice, may I ask?
This is precisely my strong point. Do you know how a civil registry office works? It is just a matter of making a new application of this. In each community a new office is opened, a bureau of political membership. This office would send every responsible citizen a declaration form to fill in, just as for income tax or dog registration. Question: what form of government would you desire? Quite freely you would answer, monarchy, or democracy, or any other. Question: if monarchy, would you have it absolute or moderate? If moderated, how? You would answer constitutional, I suppose. Anyway, whatever your reply, your answer would be entered in a register arranged for this purpose, and once registered, unless you withdrew your declaration, observing due legal form and process, you would thereby become either a royal subject or citizen of the republic. Thereafter you would in no way be involved with anyone else's government, no more than a Prussian subject is with Belgian authorities. You would obey your own leaders, your own laws, and your own regulations. You would pay neither more nor less, but morally it would be a completely different situation. Ultimately, everyone would live in his own individual political community, quite as if there were not another, nay, 10 other, political communities nearby, each having its own contributors too. This is not all. Problems rarely arise between extreme opinions. One fights more often. One struggles much harder for shades of color than for strongly contrasted ones. I have no doubt that in Belgium the overwhelming majority would opt for the current institutions, a few accepted shortcomings notwithstanding. But, when it came to specific applications, would we be so united? Do we not have 2 or 3 million Catholics who follow only Mr. de Fawkes and 2 or 3 million liberals who swear allegiance only to themselves? How can they be reconciled? By not trying to reconcile them at all, by letting each party govern itself, and at its own cost, even choosing theocracy if one so wishes. Freedom should extend to the right not to be free, and should include it.
PANGEA is BitNation's decentralized jurisdiction platform. Using PANGEA, you can build voluntary nations, agree contracts, and resolve disputes with other citizens, and access the services you need. This is our vision of jurisdiction as a service, a global market for governance services. Imagine a world where people can freely choose which voluntary nations and jurisdictions they want to be part of. A world where voluntary nations offer a choice of services under their own laws and policies and compete for citizens in a free market that rewards good governance. You too can be part of the future of governance by joining the PANGEA token sale. Welcome to the Internet of Sovereignty. Welcome to PANGEA.